you guys? Rasati out here in Singapore. So glad that you're on here with me, listening to the Night Out podcast. Thank you so much for all of you who have been following me from all over the world. I get comments and questions. I get lots of feedback. I couldn't be more pleased or more grateful because I wasn't sure where this was going to end up, and I kind of just got in the habit of doing it, and I've just kept at it, basically, is what it is. I've been keeping at it and helping myself. It's almost like I'm leaving bookmarks every day on things that I've learned, things that really stood out to me. And it's helping keeping me grounded too. It's helping me stay grateful. And I got to thank you guys for listening in. And because you listen in, because you follow, because you subscribe, it kind of encourages me to keep on going. So I'm going to ride this out until the wheels fall off. And I'm just enjoying myself. So I hope you enjoy and pick up some tidbits for yourself in your everyday life as well. Now, the last podcast episode, we were talking a little bit about the fact that I've kind of gotten to know James Lipton all over again. I didn't follow his career. I'm sorry to say that I didn't know he existed. I didn't know that there was such a man out there. But recently, because of my best friend, he actually he suggested that I look him up and look at the way that the interview style is and the way that he asks his questions, because he has this very unique soulful way of kind of just digging into someone's life to be able to help them reveal just how much they've accomplished, just how much they've had to walk through to get to where they are right now, so that they can appreciate their life struggles so far and feel renewed and reinvigorated for the path that still lies ahead. So I've been listening to him a little bit, trying to figure out, where it's coming from, what kind of insight he's getting. Does he come up with the questions ahead of time? Mostly because I've been doing interviews. I've been doing interviews for about 2 years now. Originally on my 50th podcast episode, the idea was to start having guests on every week. But what I quickly realized was that I could plan it up to a point, and then I'd run out of people who might want to sit up and talk to me. So what I did instead was I did it one-off on Instagram Live. And at that point, it was one of those things where we went live and it stayed in your feed for about 24 hours. And I had to find a way to rip it from the feed and put it back on YouTube so that it would stay there for longer. So it was interesting. It was definitely a learning curve. And from there, I kind of just lined up as many people as I knew, interviewed everybody that I was involved with. Back then, it was like Crown for Success team. And then from there, it was American Real, because we had a 21-day challenge that was going on. We were ready to go live for a minute every day for 21 days, and that was kind of cool. It kind of helped me perfect my elevator pitch, and it influences the way I do my daily dose every day as well. So I've been putting out content ever since, and what was supposed to be the next phase of my interviews ended up being a whole different sidetrack altogether. But this is what I wanted to talk about. By listening to James Lipton, I've been able to kind of glean other ideas and perspectives, beliefs that he held close to heart, things that he lived by, and it's given me pause for thought, basically. It's given me more to kind of chew on and try to understand, try to look at it from his perspective and see how it could possibly be something that I could adapt into my own life. And there was a phrase that he said in one of his addresses to the school itself, and he actually said that intuition is quiet. That's why it's so hard to hear. And I love that. I really, really love that. I want to talk about that today. So for those of you who understand, I have been trying really hard to teach people how to rediscover who they are. And in the process of rediscovering who you are, you start to learn to listen to your intuition a little bit. You start to learn to learn to listen to your feelings and pay attention to your body as it reacts to people around you or certain situations. If you physically get scared, if you physically get nervous, irritable bowels, panic attacks, shortness of breath, your blood pressure rising, all of those things are actually tied to your emotions. And I want people to start to notice that. But for that to happen, they need to be self-aware first. So when I teach people, clients, groups, young children that I speak to, I try to get them to really pay attention to what your body is telling you. And it's very, very quiet. It almost whispers to you, which is why it's kind of hard to drown out all of the distractions, the people and their opinions, and everybody got 2 cents about everything. They want you to do this way. They want you to do that way. Well, if you did it this way, you'd be so much better because I did it this way and it worked. But yeah, you're a baker and I'm a mechanic. I don't think it's going to work the same way. So these are the things I want you to feel good about, because when your intuition says, hey, this is not the path for you, this is where you get a chance to set a boundary. or speak up and let your voice be heard and let them know, hey, you know what? I appreciate your opinion and I will consider it. But I also had this gut feeling that's driving me to say, maybe this might be a better fit for me. Now, to be very, very honest, I've been through so many examples of when I wanted to do something and somebody came up and they were more successful than I was, have, been a little bit older, more experienced, all these things, and they come up and tell me, hey, you should do this instead and you should do that instead. And I've tried, and because my business wasn't there yet, I tried and it kind of failed or flopped. It kind of had a negative, not a negative impact, but a negative piece of feedback for me in my life. And I realized instantly after I'd done it that, okay, you know what? I should have gone with my gut because I knew that I wanted to do it this way instead. A lot of times I do reach out for help and I don't always take the advice that's given, mostly because I want to be able to spitball or bounce ideas off of somebody who has a different set of experiences and perspective. And that way I can actually decide for myself. It kind of either confirms my gut instinct or negates my gut instinct, but either way, I kind of have another opinion to consider and I can decide what I want to do from there. A lot of things have changed over the years. I mean, if you go back all the way back to the beginning of my feed, you'll notice that I started off just posting pictures of things that made me happy throughout the day. Sometimes it was other people's quotes. Sometimes it was pictures of baby girl. Sometimes it was somewhere I went and it was like the way the trees looked that day and it just was beautiful and I wanted to post it because it made me feel good. So it became a thing that I was using to uplift myself. And as the days went by, I started seeing that more and more people were kind of, coming in and messaging me and writing comments and actually liking what I was posting. And so I decided, okay, well, I've always had this, need to create pretty things, nice looking things, aesthetically pleasing pictures, and I've always had a quote or a word or something on it. So I started to curate my way of, posts, the image part of the post itself. And usually it was just a couple of lines underneath in the caption itself, and eventually evolved into the long form, well, not even long form, microblog style of posting on Instagram because people actually do read all the way to the end. And all of those things, even though they were told that, not told, they were pieces of advice I got from people who were in a position of authority or influence. They told me, hey, you should do this, you should do that. A lot of times it took a while for me to give in and be like, all right, you know what? Okay, I will try it. Because there is a certain amount of fear that comes with changing anything because right now it works and you don't want to mess that up. You don't want to lose followers. And then sometimes it becomes, okay, well, I'm trying something different. If it doesn't work well, how will I feel about the feed? And eventually it became, the whole feed was aesthetically pleasing and I had like a system to it. Even then, my best friend came in like last year and he kind of forced me to change the way I set up the feed because he kind of pushed me to post something that was totally out of my character, out of my comfort zone. And he was like, just post it, just post it, just post it. And eventually it messed up the way my feed looked, but I was able to kind of adjust and keep on going because there will be days where I want to do something different. And suddenly I feel like I'm penned in by this set of rules that I've created for myself on how to post and what to post on Instagram. So a lot of these things kind of come by accident, but it also is this leap of faith you take with your gut and your instinct because you're trying to do what works for you right then. Sometimes the fear is a good thing and it's saying, hey, you're going to try something new. It's going to be completely different. Just wing it. Just, throw it on the wall, see what sticks and see how it makes you feel afterwards. Because obviously on social media, it is possible for you to remove a post and start over again. But I didn't want to go backwards. I wanted to continue moving forwards and see how much more I could possibly accomplish if I took away those limiting ideas that I had put there myself. So what started off as just, a regular memory board, except if that's what you can call it, a memory board, a collection of pictures that made me feel good became a collection of quotes that made me feel good, became a collection of quotes that I felt good about that might help other people. It became ideas and perspectives that I think that we should talk more about. It became conversation starters. And then, of course, the aesthetic became more like, I don't want to look like everybody else. I want to stand out. And at the time when I decided to change everything, it was me fighting against a sea of, peach, pink, rose gold, and black lettering on the post itself. And while it's highly shareable and it looks really great and everything, it didn't look like it stood out to me because I couldn't tell the branding on it because everybody had the same colors, same font, same ideas basically. And so I felt like it wasn't the right thing for me, and I wanted to stand out. I wanted to be completely different. I wanted to be boisterous and loud and not really indignant, but what is that word I want to use? Vibrant, because that's how I wanted to be. I was going to get bored if I had to use the same color scheme or the same preset for, you know, the filters on all of my pictures. I was going to run out of things to do and say, and I felt like I didn't want to be pinned down that way. I wanted to be bright and colorful at least, and I can adjust the hue or the, oh, what is that word? I don't even know the words, you guys. Increase the, it's not the ambience, it's the color. It's how bright the color is, the brightness level of the color itself, so that it would really stand out. And I always used white lettering because it was bold and it was beautiful, and it was not so much on the page that you would be confused or had to stop and really read it. You would see the word and try and think of whether or not you wanted to read the rest of the post, and that was enough for me. So I felt good about the way I was moving, and though it wasn't the way everyone else wanted to do it, it felt good. It felt natural to me, and I haven't really looked back since. As far as marketing wise, I've tried to stay grassroots because that's just who I am in general. I've been a community marketer since I worked at Wyndham and Fairfield Resorts. I was the person who went out into the local community and talked to businesses and got them to sign up and offer discounts so that everybody benefited. You got more traffic to your store. People get a discount because they stay at Wyndham, and so they shop locally, and that means that they get a discount because they're spending money locally. It's you know, it's a win-win for everybody. And I love those situations, but all of those things still trickle down to who I am and how I do business online right now, because I do believe in the community. I do believe in people helping each other up and building so that there is inclusion and there is space and there is success enough for everybody around us. So back to my point though, James Lipton talking about the fact that intuition is quiet, it whispers, and so sometimes it's hard to hear, brings me back to the point that, you know what, as much as I think, succeeded in business, there's so much more that I could be doing, but a lot of it also depends on how I feel about the changes, how ready I am to kind of disrupt what I have going on, because I've fallen into a pattern, I've fallen into a comfort zone, and I know that there's more that I could be doing. It's just a matter of, okay, well, how do I adjust? How do I make it better? Everything from, when I first started the podcast, it was Facebook Live audio, and all I had to do was just jump on live on Facebook. People would listen in live and comment live, and I had to learn how to not pay attention to the comments, complete my thought. And once I was done, just hit publish, and there it was. I didn't adjust it. I didn't audio edit anything. I didn't take out the pauses, the yawns, the coughs, sneezes, any of those things. Everything was just there the way it was. And eventually, I lost the functionality and wasn't able to do Facebook Live on my business page. And while that was a big blow to me, the technology change forced me to be able to be more resourceful and see how else I could record podcast episodes. Now, at the time, I did have Anchor, but I couldn't use it because it was dedicated to another podcast I had with my daughter. And so until I got rid of that whole thing, I wasn't going to be able to, you know, pick it up and adjust and throw this podcast on there. So eventually I learned about Lipton, and I learned about, you know, SoundCloud, and I learned about Audacity. Audacity is the program that I used to actually add on the intro in the beginning, and I was very grateful. My best friend actually created the intro for us, and so it's just been this change after change. Not all of them I was ready for. Some of them I was already pondering, but because I pondered so long, God or the universe decided to kick me and shove me into that direction anyway, because the technology changed. I do have a podcast mic. I still don't use it because everything's right here on my phone. I don't have to sit there and set up and make space and make sure everything's set up. I can do this from anywhere, and that's what I want for my life. I want to be able to do all of my work from anywhere in the world, and I don't have to worry about if I have all the equipment or not, because generally I have this phone in my hand, like always. So a lot of the intuitive leaps I've made, even the fact that, you know, I created the Dear Rasati group 2 years ago, and I've tried a couple of times and failed and stopped and reset and kicked everybody out of the group, like all those things I've tried a couple of times. And now I'm in a position where I'm like, you know what, I feel really good about this. And I'm excited that, that I'm in a position that I can try again. And this time it's with a little bit more backing, a little bit more support, and people seem to be responding very well to the way that I'm teaching. So now it's a matter of, okay, well, how do I change my teaching style? How do I make it more clear and succinct? How do I give people all of the the tools that they might need to be able to really apply what I'm teaching. How do I make it better the second time around? How do I make it available for new people? So this is the kind of thing that I'm working on right now. And I really, really enjoy the fact that it's constantly testing my gut. It's constantly asking me questions. Well, what do you want to do now? How do you want to change now? The choice to actually go onto day.sg so I can get a little bit more reach and see if other people might be willing to actually enlist my help because they see me available as somebody who can actually offer a service of some sort. That's been something that I've been very, very scared of, but I know I need to do at some point. It's about that time. So trusting your gut comes, in my opinion, first from a self-awareness. You need to know who you are and what you stand for and what you like and what you don't like. And then it becomes a matter of speaking up when you need to. So you let people know what you prefer and what you don't prefer. And then from there, because you know yourself so well, you know when you feel uncomfortable and you know when you feel afraid, or you know when you feel threatened in any way, or you know when you feel absolute joy and you would not hesitate to go back and do it again because it feels so great and so exciting and so supportive. So all of those things come from knowing who you are, recognizing your emotions, what each of those emotions mean, and eventually it kind of heightens your awareness of your gut instinct. And that's what I want mostly for all of you guys. So as much as, yes, when you focus on the outside world, the intuition, your gut instinct, that voice in your head that says, nah, that's probably not a good idea, becomes quieter and quieter. But the more you pay attention to you, the more you step out of that race that everybody else is running and set your own targets, set your own course, and run your own race, the louder you can hear yourself and your body telling you what feels good and what doesn't feel good, what agrees with you, what doesn't agree with you, all the way down to the food you eat, the company you keep, the kinds of the kinds of herbs you react to, the kinds of environments you prefer. Do you like being around water? Do you like being around forest? Do you like to be grounded in nature with no shoes on? Like, do you really enjoy a lovely breeze in the evening? Like, what do you need to replenish yourself? What do you need in order to regain some of the energy you may have lost in a big discussion or a group project or in a classroom with 500 other people? Like, all of those things are things you need to know about yourself, but no one's actually teaching. So I'm excited, and I was kind of brought back to the idea that, you know what, yes, intuition is very, very important. And when James Lipton described it as the whisper that you barely hear because the rest of the world is so loud, I was like, yes, absolutely, that's exactly what it is. And this is why I'm teaching self-awareness, people skills, emotional intelligence, because I need you to trust your gut a little bit more. And I don't know. I don't know how you feel about gut instinct, but I would love for you to let me know in the comments below. Drop your experience with your gut instinct, your intuition. How does that work for you? And in the meanwhile, let me know if there's something that you think that I could teach that might help you better understand something regarding your intuition and how to listen better or how to understand better. Because as much as I talk about the things that excite me and make me feel better about my life or feel easier or feel more peace in my life, the idea for me to even be here in business is actually to serve you. So if you can let me know what else you think I might need to touch on or other things you might need more clarity on, please, by all means, let me know. And yeah, I look forward to talking to you guys again. Bye.